Perfect. So we'll get started here. So welcome to my marketing class. Instead of just a marketing 101, where our main focus is going to be marketing your value, but I am going to go over a couple of the topics from my first marketing 101 class. I teach a marketing class once a month. I try and switch it up and always have up-to-date and new information for you guys. So I try to just be as transparent as about that as possible. So what we're going to be covering is going to be where, when, and what to post on your social media, how to brand yourself and standing out on social media. And then the last biggest piece is going to be how to provide value all the time for your clients to keep them for life. One of the worst feelings in the world is when you help someone buy a house and then 5 years later they move out and they don't list it with you. So we're going to go over some tactics to make sure that doesn't happen. A quick little bit about me. I have over 3 years of experience in real estate. I started as a receptionist for the Keller Williams office. I've been a listing coordinator. I've been a transaction coordinator. I've been an executive assistant. So I've had all these sorts of roles. And in all those roles, I learned that my favorite part about this is the marketing part. And it's something that I'm really good at and enjoy helping people with. So that led me to start this business here. And I love partnering with the Keller Williams office. If you haven't popped by my office during your office tour, I've got one of the little offices on the way to the kitchen. Feel free to stop by anytime. I try to be here at least every business day of the week if I can. All right. First things first is going to be where to post your social media posts. Right now, the best places are Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok is really taking off right now. And we'll go into when to post on these, not just what time of day. I do have a chart for that, but in what situations do you post on all of these? Facebook's a little bit more businessy, and then TikTok is just super fun. So some ideas of what to post on all of those. And lastly, we will also cover what topics on social media you guys can post. A lot of people, they open up their Instagram or their Facebook and they're like, oh my gosh, what do I post? It's easy, but it's not easy all at the same time. So we'll be going over that. All right. So first things first, when to use what platform? Facebook is going to be for market updates. So market stats, people always love knowing that. If you're ever hosting an event, so say you have a booth at the farmer's market, put it on Facebook. You can host events on there. You're just listed and just sold, highlight a review on your Facebook or have people go to your Facebook page and leave a review. Tips for home ownership or general real estate tips about buying or selling a house. Like, why should somebody stage their house? It not only makes the house look pretty for the photos, but it helps the buyers envision themselves in the house a little bit more, especially if it was vape beforehand. So Facebook is more serious businessy posts. Now, Instagram, you can also do your market updates. You can do tips. If you're posting tips on Instagram, I recommend videos are really popular on Instagram right now. So if you do a tip about staging, maybe do a walkthrough of a home that is staged, whether it's your listing or not, to give them a feel for what a home that's staged feels like if they can't be there in person. You'll definitely want to put your just listed and just sold on Instagram as well. Instagram is all photo related, so more photos and videos, the better. Highlighting your reviews, making a little picture that's got 5 stars on it and has this awesome review your client left you. Check out this awesome review that my buyer just left me on my website or wherever they've left you the review. That's great. Interesting home features are another great thing to post on Instagram. You say you go tour a house. This has happened before. Chantel went to a house and I remember her sharing it on Facebook and Instagram, and the house had one of those little closets under the stairs like you see in Harry Potter, except they converted it into a bathroom, but it was teeny tiny and it was all tile, and there was a shower and it was almost like pointed at the sink, and the toilet was right next to it. And it was just so tiny that the joke was like, wow, you can kind of get everything done in the bathroom all at one time. And it was just funny, but it was something that she saw while showing houses. So it made some people laugh, it got their attention, and then it reinforced she's a realtor, she's out showing houses today with her buyers and where she was out. So those are some things that you should be posting on Instagram. TikTok is purely fun, get to know my personality. So funny videos, do a little home video through, especially if it's a luxury home or a luxury listing, just something really nice. That's going to look great on TikTok. You have about 15 to 60 seconds on your videos. So if it's an open floor plan, that'll be a lot easier to go to the kitchen, the living room, entryway, and that'll just help you out a little bit more. Open house promotion videos are great on TikTok as well. Not so much the type of video where you're holding your phone in front of your face and you're just talking. Try to make it a little fun. What can you do to catch somebody's attention with it? Are you holding your open house sign and you're in front of the house? The description has the home address and there's some fun music playing that you're dancing to. And that's going to get a little more views, especially if it's a fun song, than just somebody talking. This is a chart of when you should be posting to Facebook and Instagram. I am working on trying to find one for TikTok, but since TikTok is really taking off, posting on that anytime is going to be great. Now, you don't have to strictly stick with this. You can post any day, anytime, but these were from last year in 2020 when people were looking at social media the most. It used to be really early in the morning when people were getting ready for work, like 7 to 9 a.m. ish. And now that's moved up a little bit to be a little later in the morning, early afternoon on both platforms. So if you'd like a copy of this chart, I would be happy to email it to you afterwards. Just go ahead and let me know in the chat, and that way I can send it to you afterwards. And again, this is for your posts. This is not for ads. Ads run for like 10 days, 7 days at a time. This is simply just your posts when to get in front of somebody without physically being there is what your social media is for. All right, so now what do you post on social media? Besides the rules of what types of posts to have on specific platforms, what happens if you want to do it a little bit more detailed, show a little bit more of you, a little bit more of your business? You don't want it to be house, house, house all the time, especially you're just listed and just sold. It gets stale, especially when it's just the front picture of the house. So if you have a niche, for example, maybe you're an expert in selling condos in downtown Portland, start sharing about those condos, share about things that are around those condos. When someone buys a place, they're not just buying that house or that condo or whatever it is. They're buying a piece of the area. They're going to be going to the restaurants. They're going to be going to the events and the parks, of course, when it's safe to do so. So keep that in mind as you're sharing things. You're not just a real estate expert. You're not just a local expert. You're also an expert on activities and businesses in the area. You want to be that one-stop shop for your client. Another is going to be if you maybe have a hobby or past experience flipping houses. A lot of people do that, especially with the older houses right now. And they maybe want an agent that's really good at helping them find a diamond in the rough, helping them envision, okay, if I take out this wall, what's the house going to look like? Or is that even a good idea? So if you go to a fixer house, maybe take a quick video or a photo and say, I have past experience flipping houses. If you took out this wall right here, it would really open up the area. This house, though it's a fixer, is a great investment For anyone looking to flip a house or get into it, I'd love to be your agent. Posting something like that, that's the type of client that post is going to return to you. Another thing you can consider is going to be your hobbies, whether it's home improvement projects, maybe you're in a running club and have connections to a lot of runners in the area. Maybe you're a dog lover and you know a bunch of the dog parks or some great hiking trails that are dog friendly. Because of those hobbies, that's the type of clientele you're going to attract. If you're a dog lover posting about hiking trails in the Portland area, you might get someone relocating from California that really wants to be close to those. And because you've posted about it, you're now going to be their first choice for an agent. They have that connection with you on a more personal level. So that's another one that you can do. Another one is going to be, what are you known for? My business name, Morgie Creative Services. Morgie is a little childhood nickname of mine, but it also goes along with a small obsession I have with corgis. I actually have one and I post about him all the time. I got tagged and people would share videos with me all the time of corgis, even if it wasn't my own. And people started to know me for that. So that's why I incorporated it into my marketing. It's something people already knew me for. So now when they see my logo with a corgi on it, or that little nickname that's just one letter different, they have this association with me when they see those things. So that's the kind of thing that you'll want to maybe generate with your social media posts as well. And lastly, where do you focus your business? If you look at, like, if you're just starting out, you're a new agent, I don't recommend hyper narrowing in on one little area. When you're just starting out, you want to work everywhere. You want to cast your net big and get as many clients as you can. But once you work for a little bit and you've got some word of mouth and some reviews with clients, you'll start to see, oh, a huge chunk of my business is in Beaverton. Once you've gotten to that stage, start really sharing businesses in that area and resources in that area, links to other businesses or links to resources like the city resource, like the City of Beaverton website, or where they can go and look at really great school information in that area. You can dial it in a little bit. This is another great one if you've lived in an area for a long time. Like if you've been living in Lake Oswego for the past 20 years, you're going to be a great agent for that area, even if you're new, because you've lived there so long. So all of those are tips for how to start getting the posts online, when to start getting them online. The last piece of it is going to be branding yourself and standing out. If you start to use a color scheme on your listing materials, your sign and your business card, if you're making posts online that involve you adding some color or something to it, like some words on it, try to stick with the same colors that you're using in your other marketing, and that's going to have that, I can't think of the name for it right now off the top of my head, but that's going to have the client, when they see that color, they think of you, that recognition. Another way to stand out is to stay consistent on social media. Definitely try posting every day, but if you can't, 3 to 4 times a week is another great way to do that. But try to always do it on the same day, around the same time too, if you can. And that consistency, say you're doing a market update every Monday. If somebody's really liking those market updates and they know you always post them on Mondays, they're going to start looking at your stuff more on Mondays. So stay consistent. Make sure you're providing value as well. That kind of goes back to the don't just share house all the time. You need to provide value for your clients as well. What's going to keep them looking at your posts? What's going to keep them looking at your profiles and keeping up to date with you? The more somebody engages, whether they're commenting, sharing, or liking your posts, the more often they're going to see them. So if you start to notice on your social media that you're liking someone's posts all the time and now you're seeing them all the time, that's normal. That's that Facebook, Instagram algorithm. You want to capitalize on that too. So getting people to comment on something, whether it's a question of, look at this gorgeous fireplace, this house I just showed, what do you guys think of it? And you get some people commenting on it. That's great. That's going to start to boost your posts for those people. And don't be afraid to have fun and show some personality. Yes, real estate is your business, and you should always be professional, like avoid some political things on your social media for your business. You can do that on your personal, but don't be afraid to show some of your personality and have fun, because ultimately when you are friendly and upbeat or having fun with something, you start to attract that emotion or that state of mind. And that's a really good way to get clients or get referrals. Even if someone's not looking right away to buy a house, but you just shared an awesome video, but they know a friend that does. This person in the middle might not even be your client, but they've shared your video to someone that does need a real estate agent. Check out how awesome Phil is. Look at this video. Oh my gosh, that's great. I think I'm going to reach out to him. I've actually been thinking about buying or selling a house, whatever it is. All right. So this is the meat and bones of the class today, is this chart from Family Reunion that's going to go over how to provide value at all stages of a transaction. This is one part where real estate agents really struggle, especially if they start to get like a big team or really busy. They'll get leads from social media, or they'll get leads from social media ads or other lead companies like Boomtown, things and they'll help them here in this section of a transaction, but then they're missing a bunch of this other part where they could be providing value. So give me 1 second while I switch over from my computer screen over to my tablet, so we can kind of draw a chart and walk through it. And then we're going to start brainstorming and masterminding some ways for you guys to provide value in different ways for your clients throughout all parts of their home ownership life. And share. Okay, it's a little different on the iPad in case anybody. Okay, there we go. So this is the main squiggly line for that chart that I just showed. I'll just a straight line here. This black line here is their emotion during a transaction. Their client's emotion levels. So down at the bottom here, this is going to be their first day in a new house. This one up here, that's going to be them probably either getting an accepted offer, because that's really great right now, or that's going to be like the day of closing. It can kind of alternate there a little bit. So most agents, when they are helping somebody, they focus right here in this box. And we're going to call this box 1. This box is from when you've gotten the lead. So whether you met them through a friend, you got them through a lead service, they came in through a Facebook ad, however you have first made contact with them. And all the time leading up to here, that's going to be you checking in with them if they're 3 to 6 months out. That's going to be you showing a buyer houses, or that's going to be you getting the house prepared before listing it. You've got the photographer and the stager coming in. You've got people writing offers. And this is that front part of the transaction. And then this part here, that's going to be the after closing or after they've written an offer. So for buyers, sometimes there's a rent back, they don't get into the house right away. For sellers, now they just got an accepted offer, woohoo, but now they got to go through the inspections and the repair requests. Their excitement level starts to go down a little bit. So this part is where all agents are focusing most of their time. These obviously are times where you're talking to your clients the most, but this is also where they're at the top of your mind. So the next part is going to be this box here. A little bit more like a diamond because I have a squiggly line. But this is box 2. And this is again, after, we'll call this first day in the house. And that was offer accepted or closing. Again, this is your happiness level. All right, so there is a saying that nobody buys a house the first day that they're in their new house. You don't usually buy 2 houses, one right after the other. So all of these little lines in here are all of your activities with your client after they're in the house. Some agents will check in for the first month to a year. So they might be focusing that last energy right there, but then it falls off and they've stopped contacting the person. Well, now it's 1 year. Now it's 2 years, or maybe it's even 5 years. And your client hasn't heard from you. Well, now they bought their first house, but they're ready to sell it. They've had kids since then and they want to move to a bigger house. So now they want to list it and buy another one. Because where the black lines are the happiness level, that green squiggly line there right in the middle, that's the likelihood that they're going to do a deal with you, essentially, or the timeline for real estate. There's lots of ups and downs. So as you can see, if you stop communicating with them, there's this huge chunk right here of potential activities you could do to keep in touch with your clients that you're missing out on, and you're less likely to get this deal right here. Another option would be maybe they remember you and you're good friends with them and you've helped them for this deal. They move into that second house, but now they're not quite ready to sell the second one, but they want to sell it. They want to buy an investment property. So now you've known your clients through this whole time for maybe 10 years. As an example, what can you do within 10 years to always be sure that you are the first person that they think of when they think real estate agent? So that's what we're going to kind of go over and start to brainstorm and mastermind a little bit, is how can you help people in all of these areas as you're going about. Now this exercise was actually from Jason Abrams at Family Reunion. And he said there's 3 ways that you can provide value. There's emotion. There's emotion. There's data. And there's service. These are the 3 ways that you can provide help to a client But because you have those two boxes, so we'll call this side box 1, and this side is box 2. And this is what you should be doing on a piece of paper. Otherwise, this meeting is recorded, so you can come back and watch it later if you want, and do this exercise on your own. Also, I apologize for my terrible handwriting, but I'm hoping you can still read it. So box 1 again was that box during the transaction from lead to closing is essentially box 1. So ways you can provide value as an agent with emotion is, one is going to be a stress-free transaction. That's one idea of something you can advertise to your clients. You're very level-headed and you're great at being communicative to have them have a less stressful transaction. You keep your cool in negotiations, essentially. A way you can provide data during this part, of course, is going to be sending them homes. That's one way. Another is going to be the neighborhood nurture with KW command, because everyone likes to know what's going on in their neighborhood. And let's see here. Looking at my other notes I took the other day. Okay. Yep, that would be how you could do the data. Now, service. What are some ways you can provide some service to your clients? It's going to be home care tips. This can kind of go hand in hand with data, but data, try to think houses and market. So home care tips are a great way to provide service, or you can recommend a local handyman to somebody. In this first box, an example for that is going to be you go to the listing and the house really needs new paint and the cabinets need to be refinished, and once that's done, the house will show 1,000% better, and you know that they'll get an offer quickly. That's how you've just provided service to your clients during that first box by giving them some tips for how to update their house to show better. Another one, another way to provide service here in area 1. Oh. All right, so I just realized my notes got mixed up between my my phone and this presentation here. So 1 second. Now, these all still apply for during the transaction. The home care tips is actually supposed to be on this side. My bad. I looked at the wrong box that I have on my phone. Okay, so back to the service. Looking at the right box now is going to be info before and after the transaction. And that's going to be answering their questions up front or answering their questions in a timely manner. The more knowledgeable you look, getting those questions answered quickly, the better you're going to look to your clients. So that's one way that you can provide service during the transaction. Okay, so now on the other side, the emotion for after they've moved into the house. After the closing has happened, and this is again where a lot of real estate agents drop the ball. Home anniversary gifts are a great way, or cards. Congratulations, especially first-time home buyers. Congratulations, you've been in your first home for a year. That looks great to them. If you got along really, really well with them, you could invite them to events with you. Say you both learn that you really like wine, or you both really want to go to a wine tasting, and you see an event in the area for a wine tasting, or it's like a Groupon coupon. Invite some clients to go with you that like wine. This can be a year, 2 years, a couple of months after they've moved in. You weren't just their real estate agent, you're now helping them do something in the area and solidifying that friendship with them. So some ways that you can provide data in this second section is again going to be that neighborhood nurture. You can let them know, hey, I know you've moved into the house recently, but I want to set you up on this neighborhood nurture. It tells you what homes are for sale, pending, and sold in your neighborhood. It'll help you keep tabs on if you have a friend that wants to be your neighbor, if a house pops on the market that you think they might like. So that's a great way to keep giving them data. Another one would be a big market update every couple of months or so. So like a quarterly mailer. With market info for the city or the Portland metro area. And then the service, of course, is again going to be the home care tips. If you take a look at the newsletters I write for the office, they support a lot of local businesses or events in the area. And finally, another option for service is a branded vendor list. This way they've got it in their house. They can open up that booklet. It's branded to you, and they can open that at any time to call a handyman, to call a plumber, to call an electrician. Once my parents were living in their house, it was a new construction. After a couple of years, they needed to call somebody. Well, thankfully, they had real estate connections and they were able to get somebody in quickly, but they still had to call the real estate agent. And sometimes it's better for them to just have the list, unless you want them to reach out to you. But giving them that branded vendor list gives you an excuse to stop by a month or so after they've moved in. I hope you're settling in okay. I wanted to drop this off for you to use as a resource. It's got a bunch of local vendors that you can use for the house when needed. Gutter cleaning, electricians, plumbers, you name it. So that gives you an excuse to stop by. If you don't want to do a printed one, another option could be to do a digital one. This way, handyman, they're kind of they cycle. You use them for a little bit and then they move on to a different job. So maybe you want to have a always up-to-date version. Make a digital version on your website. Have a branded vendor list there. Or you can make a Google document and share it with people so they can look at it, and then you're the only one allowed to update it. That's another great way to still get them, the vendors provide the service after the sale. So now I'm going to open this up a little bit into more of a mastermind session, and I'll pull up that first chart here of what are some other ideas that you guys think, ways you can provide value either in box 1 during the transaction or box 2 after the transaction. That way you're always the first person your client thinks. When they think real estate agent, they think you.
I would say if you have a good connection with them and can follow them on social media, then you can see what's going on in their lives and drop off gifts for big events, or even just commenting on their posts and staying connected that way will keep you front of mind.
Absolutely, especially if maybe they're like a newlywed couple that used you to buy your first house and they mentioned we'd like to have kids one day as they're looking at the house. If you see later on that they've had a baby, that's another great one to stay in touch with them, is to drop off a baby gift, or even send if you figure out the birthday, even sending them a birthday card for their kid, or birthday cards for clients are always really popular too. You can request birthday information for your clients from title representatives. Not all title companies will give it to you. They view it as private information, but most people do put their birthdays on social media. So if you're friends with them on there and you can find it there, that's awesome. Otherwise, you can ask a title company and see if they can get that to you. So that is an awesome way. All right, now I need to see who all has chimed in. Okay. Phil, and any ideas from you?
I'm unmuting myself here. My mind was playing with ideas of if, since you're involving the vendors and the vendors are on the list, but I was thinking, boy, if you knew somebody who did snow plowing when those few storms come along, and that's the time that they make money, you also are using the vendor as a part of your sphere to expand and get money. And you knew you had sold this older lady a little house cottage. You know she's not going to be able to shovel her own walk. And so you make it known and send the plow to her house and get it taken care of. Or they go and shovel the walk. And especially if her kids find out they're watching out for her from out of state, all of a sudden you've got more, up and down the block, everybody hears about it and wow, and then not only that, but you send something up and down the block to help the vendor out at the same time with your branding on it. Or
Absolutely. There is, so they mentioned this at Family Reunion. There's an agent in, I want to say Florida, that she hired her own handyman service and like created a mini handyman business because she was doing so many real estate transactions, but she didn't have a reliable handyman. So instead, she just created an additional business. The branding of the handyman business matches her real estate one, and they go back and forth. They'll come work on her listings, or she'll send them out to a buyer's house after closing to come fix a fence after a storm or things like that. So utilizing your vendor list is huge. Sometimes you'll get recommendations, or excuse me, not recommendations, referrals from title reps too. I know some title reps send out referrals.
And Megan, I just wanted to compliment you on your idea too, as far as following the social media of your clients. I hadn't thought of that one. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I think holidays too, obviously a good time to always touch, and that gives you once a year that you're touching them as well.
Yeah, holidays are great. Pop-by gifts are another great way to stay in contact after a transaction, especially if they have kids. So it's the 4th of July. You can go get like a bunch of s'mores kits from Costco for pretty cheap, and you can drop them off at clients that had kids. Now, the key to keeping up with them after the transaction so that they always use you is not just staying in contact, but it is also going to be some organization on your part. And that is going to be best for you to do after the house closes. I recommend giving yourself almost a mini questionnaire of, and do I have the client's birthdays? Have you entered in any important information on if they're maybe pregnant or expecting a baby, or if they have kids? Use the tag system in Command you can have as many tags as you want. So say you help somebody with kids and you tag them kids. So this way you can pull it up easily every 4th of July. Who has kids? And you go through the list. Okay, who do I want to drop some s'mores off for this year? Start being a little more I cannot find my words today by the mid-afternoon. It just doesn't happen anymore. But be thoughtful with those tags and how will they help you, not just now determining and organizing who's ready to buy or sell, but how is it going to help you organize to keep up with them later on. Social media, again, is huge. Holidays, birthdays, back to the providing value is like if you're with a charity organization, that's also a great way to provide value. Someone in our office, she works with the Children's Book Bank, reading is one of her big things that she loves. So she goes around to her clients and she sends out an email. Do you have any kids books that you're looking to get rid of? I'd love to come by and collect it and give it to the children's book bank. That's a way that she touches on her clients. So if there's something that's near and dear to your heart, that's a great way to do it. One thing that's near and dear to my heart, I was born a premature baby here in Portland. So one of my hobbies is crocheting. So I make blankets for the NICU at the Portland Hospital in my free time. So a little bit out of every order I have goes towards buying yarn. That way I can make the blankets for them. So that's another great way. And if you're volunteering in person, once that's more of a thing, that's a great way for you to increase your sphere or talk to people and connect with people more.
I would also mention, coming from the winery business, I had a realtor who did a fabulous job. She partnered with me. We hosted a client appreciation at the winery every year for her clients. And she would turn it into an auction that benefited, like, a charity, which was really cool. And everybody would leave with a gift and a little treat, which was really nice. But they got to come out, enjoy wine, and donate to a good cause, which was cool.
That's awesome. I love wine, so I might have to pick your brain sometime for some wineries to go to. I was actually planning, if the weather is nice, going to one next weekend. Fingers crossed on that.
I've got lots of recommendations.
Awesome. Yeah, gifts are huge. Everybody likes getting gifts, and you always want to be a friend to them as well. People are more likely to use their friends. How many times have, I think, Megan, you're one of our newer agents. Phil, I'm not sure. Are you new to real estate or have you been in it for a little while?
I'm kind of the elephant in the room. I'm transferring from Bend, from the KW here. And I've been around the block quite a few years. But
Okay.
one of the things you mentioned was the TikTok that I have never touched upon even. I'm going to open it up and check on it after the session's over, because my wife and I are ballroom dancers. We are coming to your office, by the way. And I thought, well, TikTok, we can dance our way to your new home. So we're out in front doing some ballroom dancing and then putting that out to our dance crowds. So thank you.
Oh, that's okay. That's awesome. I am so uncoordinated with dancing. It's not even funny. I am going to have to take some major classes before I eventually get married further down the road. So yeah, that's great. Dancing your way to a new home. But yeah, TikTok would be great for that. Just set your phone up against something and record a quick little video for that. And when you look at TikTok, because it's another social media platform, there's all sorts of interests on it, everything from food to music to dancing. I recommend looking at some of the real estate ones too. Some are a little more boring and more professional than others, and some are just really fun. Like there was this guy, he was holding a just sold sign writer, and he rides a skateboard. So he rides with a skateboard up to his for sale sign, hangs it, and rides away. And that was his fun little video. So it appealed to people that also like doing that, but then emphasized, by the way, I'm an agent.
And I could involve the, let's see, I'm unmuted. There we go. I could involve our dance instructor studio in that as a vendor, and also she would get publication on that. So, and by the way, we've got recommendations for you if you want for learning for a dance for the wedding.
Thank you. I will take you up on that sometime. So yeah, let's see here. Another thing that they touched on at family reunion is what clients want. And I thought this was really interesting. So I didn't quite have a slide for it, but I did at least want to verbally mention it. They want agents that add value prior to them asking. So when I first heard this, I thought, if an agent is comfortable enough talking on a video, since a lot of people like videos, is to record a video about frequently asked questions before they write an offer. And maybe you hit some top ones in a video. You can do the same thing in a presentation to your clients. You can send it out as an email to them through different parts of the transaction to, by the way, now that we're looking at homes, here are some questions you might have. Take a look at this. It might help answer some. If you don't see your question, feel free to give me a call. It'll make you look proactive to them. And it's just another great way to get your face out there if you did have a YouTube channel and put it on there. You can do little mini series on TikTok. Today, I'm covering frequently asked questions by my buyers. Do I need to be pre-approved before looking at houses? The short answer, yes. The long answer, yes. Like just something like that too. So that's another thing that clients want that you can kind of tailor for. They want to look at less homes physically, but more of the right ones. So that's another great thing you can put into, this would fall under box number 1 for as you're talking to the lead, talking to the person, is letting them know that as an agent and being familiar with the area, you're able to filter through their search results and send them homes that you think are a knockout and hit all of their wish list boxes. So that's another thing that people are wanting. Let's see. Third, seamless transaction between looking, offers, pending, and then sold. So that kind of ties into that first bullet point I have of answering their questions up front. It starts to make the whole transaction feel more seamless. If there's some chaos going on behind the scenes with the other agent, don't hint at that to your clients. Always have the composure. I remember an agent that used to work here said he had this huge issue happen with the agent. I can't remember quite what it was. I think it was something with the title. And there was this issue blowing up and they were worried it was gonna extend their closing 3 weeks when the clients had already moved here and were staying in a hotel for a couple of days before moving into the house. Well, he didn't tell the clients of this issue because he knew we could handle it. So he handled it, everything, because it was on the seller's side, not his buyers. And once they closed, it wasn't until a couple months later that he's like, oh yeah, there was like an issue on something that happened and I totally covered it for you. And they're like, thank you for not telling us. We would have freaked out because we were not in a space to hear that at the time. So also judging what your clients can and can't handle. Always be open with them and giving them info. Of course, you never want to hide anything from them, but there are certain situations where if you tell them, present it in a way that it's not going to upset them. So that's a way to keep your transaction seamless. And let's see here. Smarter, simpler experience with a real estate agent with them every step of the way. There are lots of people. I actually have a friend in Arizona right now I have a couple of friends in Arizona that are looking at houses there right now. And one of them was venting on their personal Facebook page that they were upset with their real estate agent because after they got their offer accepted, the agent wasn't communicating with them. They were asking their friends on Facebook. So we got past our inspection period and I don't really now know what's happening. And my real estate agent isn't answering their phone. And they were confused and had a question, but couldn't get it answered. You don't want that to happen with your clients at all. So always try to avoid that and be with them every step of the way. Even if you're not physically there with them, you want them to feel that way. So the big takeaways I got, this was again from the family reunion class that I took, is to always provide value. That's going to set you apart from other agents. You can't just be a real estate agent anymore that knows the area. You need to be a real estate agent that's going to bring other things to the table. That is what will make you stand out and will make you keep clients from here on out. Over-educate, that makes you look even more like an expert. And even if they don't read, the flyer that you send them with the frequently asked questions, maybe they don't read it, you at least sent it to them and it showed you being proactive and knowledgeable for them. My favorite quote I got from Family Reunion is, "Artificial intelligence is not as good as agent intelligence." I 100% agree with this, with everything from their Zillow estimated value to, you can look up an article online of some tricks to win at a negotiation when you're presenting an offer as a buyer. But ultimately, what's going to help you is an agent that knows what's happening in that market every day. And that is about all that I had for you guys. Thank you for attending. And if you'd like to throw out any other ideas or questions, I would be happy to answer.
Awesome, thank you. It was
You're
very
welcome.
helpful.
Good, I'm glad.
Yes.
Thank you, Morgan.
And that was fun. Thanks.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by. And we have recorded this class, so if you'd like to rewatch it at any time, just reach out to Austin or I, and we'll get you a copy of it if you need to go through and see any of the charts or anything else again.
Awesome. Thanks, Morgan.
You're welcome. Have a good
Take
one.
care.